Hi guys, it's DJ here from CozyRC. Welcome to a review video of my GeForce Twin Mono. This is a fully scratch built twin motor mono built for speeds, and I'm going to show you all about it. So first, some general spec. The length of this hull is 33 inches or 85 centimeters and the width is 10 inches or 25.4 centimeters. The boat is made from wood, but it's fully laminated with carbon fiber, which I will show you in a minute. So when we open the hatch, you can see the inside of this boat. It has a twin motor setup, which for a mono hull is quite uncommon. And on the back side of the boat, you can see the dual stinger drives, which I also fully scratch built, the rudder system, trim tabs, turn fins, etc. Below all this plating is a frame of bulkheads, which I made from 3mm plywood. And after I assembled all the bulkheads, I laminated it with carbon fiber from the inside, as you can see here, and also from the outside, at least for the deck. And the bottom of the hull I laminated with glass fiber, but I will touch that topic in a minute. Currently this boat is equipped with twin Rocket 3670 1850 kV motors, and they are powered by two 6S lipos, which are put on the lipo tray over here. They both have their own speed controller, which is a Flycolor 150 amp, which I modified. So this is a standard Flycolor 150 amp speed controller, which I think is a great deal for the money. They perform pretty good, but the flaw with this one is that the water cooling runs on the side and it doesn't even really touch the housing. So what I did is I ditched the top part with the fins and the cooling, and I put my own cooling plate on it. I got this one from a viewer who fully machined it for me. So thank you very much. But it's basically pretty easy to make this from scratch. And that's what I did here. So I epoxied the cooling block on top of the speed controller, and the water runs on top of the fats, and this way it's much more efficient. So when we look at the back of the boat, I have dual stinger drive setup. This stinger drive is also fully scratch built from aluminium and carbon fiber. Now, if you think this is one step too far, I based my stinger drive design on this TFL stinger drive, which I put in the parts list, so you can also use this one. It has almost the exact same footprint as this one, so it will fit nicely. I tried several props on this boat, and these 43 1.6 high rake props perform pretty good. I think the top speed with these is 115 kilometers an hour, which is about 73 or 74 miles an hour. I also made my own rudder system. So this bracket I made from aluminium, and the rudder blade itself is from carbon fiber. It can kick up like this. But you can also use an off-the-shelf rudder. The only thing is that this arm is pretty long and it's hard to find such a long rudder arm. But I found a rudder arm that is suitable and I put it in the parts list. For the plating of the hull, I used 1.5mm birch ply for the bottom. So this is two parts of 1.5mm birch ply. And for the sides and the deck, I used 1mm birch ply. Before I assembled the side plating and the deck, I already laminated them with carbon fiber, 200 grams per square meter. And after I assembled all the plating on the hull, I again laminated the entire deck and sides with 2 layers of 110 grams glass fiber, because I also want the seams to be very strong. And finally I ended up with a very strong hull. I also added a longitudinal rib here, so it runs all the way from the transom to this bow rib here. And yeah, you can see it here. It's also laminated with carbon fiber, and it makes the hull very rigid. So yeah, if I press around the deck opening, There's basically no movement. These motor couplers are basically CNC collets. These are ER8 5mm collets. The motor shaft is 5mm. The flex shaft is a 4.76mm, but they just work fine with a 5mm collet. The benefit of these collets is that they are very precise and they don't vibrate at all. So yeah, I really like them. For the steering, I use a cheap servo. This is a 25 kilograms servo and it does the job just fine. Steering push rod is 2.5mm, so a little thicker rod will add stiffness. So I'm running dual 6S lipos on this lipo tray, which I also made myself. Basically, I laminated 5 or 6 layers of carbon fiber. I pressed them together and I ended up with a plate, which is about 2mm thick. Initially, I bought these lipos. These are CNHL 100C 3000 milliamp 6S lipos. The benefit of these is that they are pretty light and the boat runs fine on these. The highest speed with these in combination with 44 1.9 pitch props, which are different from these, I think is about 76 miles an hour. So these are light packs and they perform pretty good, but I had the feeling that the performance could be better with punchier packs. So then I bought a pair of 4 amp 70C 6S lipos. And yeah, obviously they are heavier because they are bigger. But the boat does have quite a bit more punch with these. I didn't try these lipos with the 44 1.9 pitch props, but with these props I can definitely notice the difference between these packs and these. The packs go in like this, of course with the straps, but just as an example. I'm also running with a GPS speed meter, which I basically put here in between. Ready to run. This boat weighs quite a lot. Basically it contains 12S, dual motor, dual speed control, so it is pretty heavy. I think the ready to run weight, including the hatch, is about 4.2 kilos with these heavier packs and about 4 kilos with these lighter packs. So the difference is about 200 grams. Yeah, it's heavy, but I think for such a hull, it's not too bad. And actually it performs really good. Then for the hatch, I made sure that I made a strong hatch. So this hatch is fully carbon laminated. I add some flotation. Please don't forget this when you have a hatch. Doesn't matter if you have a ready to run boat or your own. Always add flotation, because if the hatch blows off your boat, it stays afloat. And then over here you can see a section which I glass laminated, because that is where the GPS speed meter is, and the GPS signal does not go through carbon fiber, so that's why I put here a glass section. So the hatch goes on like this, and then on each 4 corners I use a thumb screw M4, like this. Basically I first put the tape on, because I always tape my hatches, and after the tape I attach these thumb screws. So yeah, this is a heavy boat and it does flip sometimes, it does crash sometimes, and I don't want the hatch to blow off. Actually, my previous hatch blew off the boat and it filled completely with water. Luckily it stayed afloat because the bow section is fully filled with pool noodle. Talking about the paints, I use acrylic paint, and the clear coat is a 2K lacquer from a rattle can. And yeah, it gives a really nice gloss. I also made sure that this lipo tray is very well secured into the boat, because with 2 6S packs strapped to it, and in an event of a crash, I don't want this plate to detach from the hull and fly through the hatch. So I used some glass weave to laminate it actually in the boat. And also it's secured here to this bulkhead, and also it's secured here in the front of this bulkhead. So here you can see the pool noodle, which runs from there all the way to the tip of the boat. And I also put some additional pool noodle in the sides here and over there, just to make sure that this boat stays afloat in an event of a crash. Several of my viewers are building this boat, either as a twin or as a single setup. It's a great build for an intermediate builder. I wouldn't recommend it if you're an entry-level builder. In that case, I can recommend my 20-inch mono. Yeah, look at the difference. But don't underestimate this one. This one runs 50 plus miles an hour as well. If you want to build one, I put the drawing in the description, including a recommended parts list. I do have some future plans for this boat as well. I'm going to upgrade these motors. I already got the upgrade motors. I got a pair of these SSS 3674 2075 kV motors. So they are a higher RPM and a slightly longer can. So I think these have more power. And due to the higher RPM, they should give a higher speed. The issue is that currently in the Netherlands, all the local ponds or lakes are completely occupied with fishermen or actual boats or swimmers. So yeah, I have to wait until the high season is over and then I'm going to run it again with these motors. And I expect this boat to reach 80 plus miles an hour. Before I forget, I mentioned the water cooling. This boat has a dual pickup, so left and right side are cooled independently. And I'm using a dual pickup from the bottom of the hull, left and right. So basically the water enters here. Then it goes through this silicone hose and it goes into the speed controller. From the speed controller it goes into the motor, and from the motor it exits the hull on the transom. The receiver antenna runs outside of the boat because it's carbon laminated, so you need an antenna outside of the boat. And for a speedrun boat, it's recommendable to have an antenna outside of the boat anyway, because normally you run long distances. A lot of information, but I hope you enjoyed. I will finish the video with some running footage, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!